Join us as we unlock the secrets to success, ignite your passion, and empower you to envision your own greatness. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and enlightened as we embark on a journey of self-discovery. It's time to Envision Me, the talk show that dares you to dream big and make it happen. Here is your host, Pamela Stone.
Welcome, you guys. How are you doing? Hey, it is beautiful here. So we're going to, and my guests, we're going to have fun. We were vibing in the backstage. I'm going to have to bring you guys back there a little bit later on. I keep saying that, but I'm going to have to do that. Have you guys come back? So first and foremost, I want to welcome you all to It's Win Wednesday. What is your win for this week? Now, if you're new to us, what we always start out with is 3 homework assignments, simple and easy, that you can incorporate it and you can answer us right now. So the first one is 1, It's Win Wednesday. Drop us your win for this week. Now, everyone's always asking me, look, my phone is already blowing up. Everyone's like, why do you keep saying that? Why do you say that? Well, you guys, a win is where you have set a goal and you have met it. And everyone's like, well, why is it so important? Because I don't want us to leave 2025 without saying we have accomplished something. I'm all about empowering, inspiring you to go after your what's next. And what perfect way is come on here every week and hold you accountable for your goal. And if you haven't set a goal, maybe you're thinking about it. That's always me. I'm always thinking about a goal, but I don't do it. If that is you, drop it in the feed so we can start holding you accountable. Or better yet, you don't know even where to start at because of life. Life is lifing. If that is you, still drop it in the feed. But yet also, if you're needing help to get over that lifing hump, go ahead and text me at 614-674-0074 and say help. And I will definitely, we can sit down and chat and see if we can help you get over the hump. And if I can't help you, I'm always saying, I have thousands of women that we are walking arm in arm together to help you go after your what's next. So that's assignment number 1. Assignment number 2, go get your pen, your paper, your girlfriends, family members, because this guest here, you guys, she's going to be dropping nuggets in perfect way. Instead of you trying to catch everything, you can drop down the main points and then come back and listen to the replay. So that's number 2. And number 3 is so simple, you guys. Okay, I'm going to confess, you guys know I'm on the journey of eating healthy. I didn't bring my water. I didn't even get my evening I didn't even bring my evening snack. But I want to hear, what is your favorite go-to snack as you listen to these shows? So with that being said, those are your 3 homework assignments. And if you would like, you can drop us a line or drop us a quick feed or hearts. We love some hearts. You know, I love some kudos. If you want us to give a shout out, you can do that. Drop us a line. Only thing that I'm asking of you is, if you are not a StreamYard subscriber, you have to give us access so I can see it immediately. Those of you who don't drop it, if you don't want to do that, I will still see them, but it will be after the show. And you know, I love a good old shout out, kudos, and all that. So as we go throughout the show, don't forget to drop your win for the week. You'll get to hear ours later on, but I love celebrating you. Without further ado, let me bring on my amazing guest, Lisa. How you doing, lady?
I'm so happy to be here, Pamela. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited for you to be here too. This is so up my alley, as we talked about when we talked about the productivity and the importance of it. But before we even get into that part and we get back to doing some girl talk about the productivity and all of it and how it affects us, tell everybody in a short version who Lisa is.
Oh my goodness. You know, when we say who we are, sometimes it's like, well, what do we do and what are we about? But how about we really dig deep right away? I'm not about small talk. Lisa, hi. I'm not going to talk about, Lisa's not someone who talks about herself in the third person, except for that. I am an encourager, a hope bringer, an organizer of thoughts and spaces and ideas. I am quick to laugh and to find joy and to make everything that we do fun and to see the wonder in the world and bring everyone along with me who wants to do the same.
Girl, we're on the right track together. I'm like you. I love to have fun.
Yeah.
Life is already so stressful as it is. To bring a little joy, that's all I feel that's one of my callings is to bring the joy to everybody. I'm like you.
Yeah,
But
there's enough stress. I love that you said life is lifing you. I'm like, I use that phrase all the time. And so I think I'm dedicated to being the antidote to people's stress and to bring the fun and the levity. My hope is a big part of who I am. Humor is a big part of who I am, and we'll bring both of those in all of this. I want to leave people feeling hopeful and encouraged.
I'm with you. I so agree with you. So let's jump in. So as you are a productivity coach, first of all, how did you even get into it? And then why did you get into that?
So it actually starts with, I mean, I suppose there was a natural tendency to organize and to always search for the more efficient ways to do things, which David Allen, one of my favorite productivity gurus, does say that he did it because he was inherently lazy. I don't know if that's the case for me, but I'm like, why are we wasting time? I've always wanted to be more efficient, but there was a time in my life where I really had to be. And I was a caregiver for my mom who had Alzheimer's. And I did this while I had my babies. Like I was pregnant twice and raising them. And at one point, caring for her, I was momming a toddler and an infant alongside that. It was
Mhm,
incredibly difficult. And
mhm,
I neither want to make light of it nor do I want to sit in that darkness and that difficulty, but I want to honor it. And that's one of the reasons why to this day I honor and I advocate for caregivers.
so true. You need it. I totally understand. I too help. I have two grandbabies, so going to, from raising a child, and then helping the child when she needs help, then also having the grandbabies, it does take a lot on. And so
It
then,
does.
and then you're sitting in the productivity realm of the world as it is expected, especially those of us who are still sitting in the corporate arena. I can so relate to the productivity. And as we were talking in the back, you guys, I sit in the productivity world where it is expected from 8 to 5 or 7, whatever the hours we want to work. And it is to turn on your mind, and it is nonstop. You're to do go, 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 go.
Yeah.
What was hard for me to shut it off was, it was hard for me to shut off. I literally, and that was something we talked about where I thought, oh, I can do some multitasking. That's a lie. The devil's a lie. I am not good here. I thought, oh yeah, I'm being productive. I'm doing everything. I'm working and listening at the same time. And come to find out, I was missing the important pieces of what was taught, what they were, someone was talking to me,
Mhm.
or I was missing the important pieces as I'm reading and still listening, and I was missing it. So it doesn't work. And so I feel that productivity, I understand it has its place, but it also, I feel it is a I have to say it's damaging. It's damaging to an individual because you don't know when to stop. And then I hear so many women that can't shut it off, such as myself. What do you say about that?
I love all of what you have to say because that is the starting point of redefining productivity. And so when we say I'm a productivity coach, and I use those words because people know those words and they know that they want it, but then they're also like, but wait a minute, I'm struggling.
Mhm.
And I'm here to help you figure out why. And it's because we as a society have been fed a certain I guess perspective on
Mm,
productivity, right?
yeah,
Exactly what you're talking about. Industrial revolution based, where it's like 8 to 5 and you got to be there and you have to make, originally it was factory work, right? So it's like,
mhm,
how many of these items can you make in a certain amount of time? How can you go, 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 produce, produce, produce? And now we need to redefine what that is. Productivity to me is about doing the right thing at the right time, the right way for you. And when
Right.
you said that, you're trying to stay focused and you're expected to be focused and you're missing things, I was
Mhm.
almost waiting for you to say, and I'm missing what matters to me.
And that's
And
true.
right? And
That
it
is so
is. We
true.
miss our opportunities. We miss time for ourselves, time with our families, time
Mhm.
for what we love. And so the caregiving story that I mentioned was the lesson learned that we have so little time, and it we can't keep going on like we were taught, that you
True.
have to do all these things, that you have to have the weight of these expectations, and that you have to constantly be doing and going, and that your worth is somehow connected to those things. I was broken down to kind of build back up and to understand maybe there's a different way to do this. And in many respects, that experience was a gift to me because I was forced to streamline my life. And then I thought, I'm not going to add stuff back in when
Mhm.
I have the time and the space again, when I no longer needed to be a caregiver. Why am I doing that? Now the space can be used for other things. And then it became my goal to help people find that space to declutter their whole lives. And so, yeah, I would say you're right about the productivity as it stands, as it has been defined before. It's time to redefine it and look at it compassionately and look at it holistically as a way to achieve our goals and live the life we want.
Okay, we say that sounds good,
Sure.
but we've worked so hard to get to this point. Now I have to say you worked harder than me. I'm just now had the aha button come on and the light come on.
Yeah.
But what if we do what about the women that are like, "Okay, you guys, that sounds so cool. That sounds so great, but where do I even start?" And I think that was the really hard part about me, was knowing where to I'm gonna just say it, and I know I'm gonna feel the backlash later, but knowing where I had to jump off the bus at, because it was just kept going and going and going and going. And so that was one question. Where do we even know where to jump off at? The jump off point, because again, it's that going consistently and constantly. I have to say, what made me have the aha when I started really asking my team, and I told them, it's just between us. What would you do? And everyone just like, I don't know. So what
Yeah.
would be that jump off point?
Well, so when you're saying jump off point, like it's time to change our lives, it's time to take back our lives, if you will. If you're saying
Yes.
that, I was just having a conversation with a client today about that and how she has lived her life in the corporate world. And by the way, I have another life, a past life in the corporate world. So I have so much empathy for
Mhm.
what that dictates for us. And I have so many issues
Right.
with some of the demands that are there. But for some reason, the response that's coming up to me immediately when you ask that question is it's a lot like that question of when to plant a tree. 20 years ago would have been ideal, but today
Right.
is the second best, right? And what I
Yes.
mean by that is deciding today that what is happening or how you are working or the demands that are being made of you or the situation as it is not right, not what you want. And so part of that to me comes from actually saying this is what I want, which also may be the first step for you, may be actually stopping for a moment and thinking about what do I want, which is why I'm so glad you're having these conversations here. This is where we need to begin. So
Yeah.
many women I talk to are like, I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah, I did too. Oh my goodness. And and the realization is, here we are, we've crossed over the threshold of, in our 20s, we're like, and let's be honest, when our 20s, we're like, oh, we got plenty of time. Life will go,
Yep.
we got time to work on it. 30 was like, yeah. 40, you were like, oh, okay. Huh.
Hmm.
What am I doing now? Where am I going? And then when you get to 50, you're like, okay, it's time to reevaluate the whole situation that happened back here. So I
Just
don't
burn it all down. No, wait,
yeah,
who said that?
right. I need matches.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say this now. I'm gonna need some wine because after I burn it down, I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna do? I'm gonna
It's
freeze.
bonfire time.
Right? Girl, I'm gonna need the firefighter stand beside me, and I'm gonna need somebody because I'm gonna have a breakdown. But it is so true, though, that we sit back and we're reevaluating things. And I'm like you. I'm glad we're talking about it because I also want women to know they're not the only ones.
No.
I've heard that so many times that women are like, "Well, I thought I would be the only one." And I'm like, "No, baby. There's thousands of us that
Yeah.
are in the looking around like, okay, is someone else gonna step out? Okay, if they step out and they match my vibe, then I'll step out with them." And ironically enough, Tahari, I'm probably saying her name wrong, the actress. She just her and Sherry, the TV host, has just now worked on an amazing movie that is created by Tyler Perry, and she talked about because they asked her, well, where have you been for the last 5 or 6 years? She too had said she had to step back. And she went to Bali and stayed there for now, though we can't, those some of us that can't do it, she went to Bali for 6 months to find out who she was and what she wanted. Because, and this is the part that I totally related to her, because she was starting to get bitter. She
Yes,
says,
resentment is a
yeah,
real cue to us that something is not working. So
yeah.
true.
And so that's what she did. And so but I want women to know that if you do feel resentment, that's also a sign to take, and as she did.
Yeah.
As she did, she did take that time. And I'm not saying to take the time to go to Bali, but I do say, and that's what I had to do. I had to sit and close the doors and just let everything fall, but found out
Right.
my why, because I don't want to repeat that. And that was also the band-aid ripping off part too, but it had to be realization. I have to be real in
Yeah.
order to get to where I had to get to.
And you don't have to, step away, and you probably can't necessarily. You probably feel like you absolutely can't step away in that way. But there are ways in which we can step away from that sort of automated, busy burnout cycle, that trap that we're in. And part of that is even now in this conversation, when
Yeah,
you're listening right now and you're like having this conversation with us and you're like, oh, let me start thinking about that. That's a way to step away. Taking an evening with that glass of wine. Okay, maybe you're not burning it all down, but you're having a little fire. Okay, and thinking about that. Maybe taking a weekend, starting to journal a bit, starting to think about things that are coming up for you, starting to pay attention to your thoughts, to your dreams, thinking about, sometimes we lose sight of who we used to be, and it's not
mhm,
about going back, but it's about going forward. And I talk a lot about clutter in my world because part of my path in helping people was actually helping people declutter physically to begin with as a professional organizer, because I could tell how healing that was. But then I realized, oh, wait, it's head and heart, it's whole life. If we get to that point first, what are our thoughts telling us? What's clouding us? Like, we get so
mhm,
much information from the outside world, right? What can we block? What can we let go of? What can we declutter so that we can really hear our own thoughts and really tap into our own dreams and live in a way that is satisfying and fulfilling? And we can still get stuff done, and we can still be nurturers and caregivers and healers for others. We can still be productive, but we
right.
can do it in a way that is more us. And
Mm,
then it becomes more filled with ease and satisfaction. But the only way we can do that is honestly by first decluttering what doesn't belong. And that is one step that those of us who can't, leave everything and go to Bali for 6 months can do.
mhm,
But that first step does come from understanding what belongs and what doesn't. And that's why I said we really need to start with what it is that we want, what we're looking for, what we're trying, maybe a goal that we're trying to
mhm,
reach. When you start with that, then you're creating what I call filters. And it's also starting with your core values and
Yeah.
how what you are as a person. People kind of look at me askance, maybe laugh a little bit, maybe like say, "What?" When I work with them, we'll eventually get to what kind of planner do you use? What does your calendar look like? What does your task list look like?
Mhm.
But but the very beginning, we talk about your core values, your tendencies as a
Mhm.
person, your level of extroversion or introversion. I use tests like the Big Five or the Big Ocean,
Yeah.
4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. We do a lot of assessments. So if you're like me and you love to take quizzes and like, what kind of potato chip am I? Then that's great. But you're learning about yourself.
Mhm.
And I think we as women, I think that's a wonderful practice no matter what, even if things don't change that much, because we're tapping into who we are. And so I realize I was able to tell you that hope and humor are huge for me because
Mhm.
I've done this for myself. I know that they are high on my character strength
Yes.
assessments as well as my core values. So that tells me a lot that I know that many people in business say you need to be serious. And I'm like, not happening. That's not true to me.
Right, right. I
And
agree
so,
with you. I
yeah.
I agree with you. But I love, first of all, I'm so wholeheartedly, this is just crazy, but I too believe in decluttering. I believe
Yes.
in decluttering your mind. I believe the journaling.
Yep.
I journal every day and I talk about it. I feel that journal decluttering before you even, you're right though, but that's where I had to start. I had to
Yeah.
declutter everything and it was painful.
Yeah.
I also love that um, you also talked about core values, but some people don't know their core values. So what do you say to that?
Well, one of the things I say is, guess what? I have free resources that will help with that. I have a positively productive toolkit on my website that you can request for free. And there is a core values workbook. But let's just quickly tap into that right now, which is when you understand and you start to reflect and journal, like we were talking about, and think about the times in your life when you were most satisfied, most proud, when you were like, this is so me, when the places that you find the most joy and the most wonder, um, you're getting clues already. The
Mhm.
things that will override, like when you realize that you want to try to do something and then something else overrides it, look for that. I'll give you an example. When I would try to get healthier and to exercise and move my body, and I loved to go to group fitness classes, and they were spectacular and I loved being there, but I would try to go to ones that would conflict with the time in which I would get my kids home from school, and I would never attend those.
Mhm.
And the standard response to something like that would be like, well, you're not dedicated, you're being lazy,
Mhm.
there's something wrong here. And I was like, well, what's wrong is that class was at a time where my kids were coming home from school, and what I value more, what I prioritize above
Right.
that movement and what's good for me is being with my children and helping them decompress and transition from school, getting all the really good intel, because the car ride home from school tells you everything you need to know. All of that was more important to me, so I
Mhm.
had to understand that there was conflict and
And
not be on myself about it like there was
Mhm.
something wrong with me, but rather restructure what I was doing. That's just one tiny example, but when we start getting curious, we figure these things out.
And you're right. I so agree with you. With that being said, as our time is already, I mean, our time is, we could talk all day because I love this topic and this is so much fun. But let's talk about, like, after we have decluttered
Yeah.
and start doing the planners. So, as a planner, I'm one of those. I have paper, electronic, I have digital paper, and then I have, you name it, I have it. It's just because I'm to keep focus. But what do you suggest for someone's like, okay, I'm there. I hear you guys. Now, what's the planner I do? What planner do I use? What do you say to that?
And I love that you asked that question, because part of this, when we're talking about what is it that I want out of life, you're also discovering how you work best. And that is one of the biggest things I do as a productivity coach, is to help you understand your tendencies. Maybe the fact that networking events, because you're an introvert, are not going to work for you unless you have an extrovert who adopts you, or that you are a Luddite and you're like, I need to be writing out everything in my planner. And please do not show me these digital things, because if it's on the screen, it doesn't connect. Or if
Mhm.
you're neurodivergent and you're like, I need reminders to pop up and I need it as automated as possible. So my recommendation to you is think about what feels right and intuitive. Where are you drawn? Do you love that paper planner? Or are you like, every time I go for that, I'm like, I don't have time to be writing in this. Then maybe you need the online version instead. You need a calendar. Maybe it's as simple as a notebook, but go where you're drawn. I do have podcast episodes about this in terms of like choosing what's best for you, but really asking yourself the question, where am I drawn? What feels easier? And there's a concept in productivity where we want to reduce what's called friction. What's the
Yes.
thing that's going to make it as simple as possible for me to do the thing, do the task, access the information? And for me, I need something, because I am everywhere and I have the chauffeur cap on with the kids, right? I need to be able to put something on my phone or on my desktop or my laptop or my iPad. So I need that digital connectivity so that I can access those notes from anywhere, most of the time in a parking lot waiting for someone,
Right.
where someone else might have a different time where they can open up a book in the morning, figure things out, be ready to go, have their list, take it with them, and they're good to go. So yeah, understand where you're intuitively drawn, how you work best, and that will be the planner that you are meant to have.
Do we all need planners? Maybe paper, maybe it be digital. Do we
I
all?
mean, honestly, some kind of list, because you don't want to carry in your head. David Allen, I'll go back to him. He says that your brain is for, creating ideas, having ideas, not holding them, essentially. So my recommendation is write down or capture what's going on somewhere. But it doesn't have to be a planner. It could be a notebook. It could be like a bullet journal style thing. It could be a basic notebook. It could be notes on your phone. It's really more, I think that here's an important takeaway for today. I love these questions and I love digging into these things, but really it's more about the process and the
Mhm.
habit than it is about the tool.
True. I agree. I agree with you, but I think you need them both to have that productive life as we
Yes.
see it. I think they both, the planner actually complements what you're doing, what you're needing to get to. I so hardly believe that.
Yes.
But I've heard so many people like, I don't need a planner. And I'm like,
Well,
yes,
you need something that functions in that regard, but if you can work with a calendar, and here's the distinction, and this has been talked about so much, where you have your second brain, you have calendars, you have
mhm,
task lists. I want to say Richard Branson was probably one of the first to be like, you don't need a task list. And it's like,
yeah,
well, no, wait a minute. If you have few enough things to do that you can put them immediately in your calendar, then maybe you don't need a task list.
true.
If you have things that you need to get done, but you have more flexibility about when you do them, you may not need to put them on your calendar. You need to work from a task list. So it's really understanding what your priorities are and what your day looks like and what kind of flexibility and control you have. Do I think most people need some form of planner or calendar? Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
But it is answering those questions that will tell you, where on the planner spectrum you may fall.
I agree with you. So let's shift a little bit. And since
Yeah.
we always, so we're talking about, as we talked about this, but let's also hone in onto those women who are over 45.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, ladies, now y'all talking a whole bunch. And I can already hear, look, my phone is already ringing and dinging over here. So I'm like, girl, I ain't got all the time for all that. And I'm older. And it's also, though, I keep telling everybody, you have to, it's a mind shifting kind of exercise.
Mhm.
What do you say to that? They're over here like, girl, I ain't got all this to do. I need you to help me to help myself. But I don't know else. What do you think about that?
So, I mean, it depends on where you're going with this. It's like, what do I not got time for? Well, I
Right.
mean, the bottom line is deciding is the hardest part, right? Is
Yes.
saying, okay, and remember that mindset shift that you're talking about, that deciding, like it's the deciding, I want to change. I want to change something in my life. And then all of the connected stuff in there. And I work a lot with clients with this as well, is you need to be okay with it and saying, I'm worth it. It's
Mm,
okay. I know it used to be like this, but I want it to be like that.
so
And
true.
I deserve it. Damn it. I mean,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's like really kind of getting to that point where you're like, I've had enough. And
Mhm.
if you're like, no, I don't have time for this, um, that's okay because you do have a lot going on and it takes a little extra effort sometimes in productivity, right? And in making change, you have to put forth a little boost of energy that you may not think that you have, but you need to trust that it's like an investment in the shift that you're going to make.
Yes.
And you have to be really good with that. So that's why it is the mindset first. It is saying, no, well, it's two things. It's the mindset about, am I worth it? Do I really want this? And then about believing that it's possible. And
Mhm.
what I would encourage you to consider is that little steps make a big difference.
I agree.
You could walk away today. As a matter of fact, think about how you could with one habit shift. Maybe the one little thing that you do today is grab yourself a journal, any kind you like. I love having something kind of cool looking, and
Mhm.
I love the Leuchtturm 1917 ones.
Yes.
Show you mine right here. Okay.
Yeah, I have one too. Mine is
Beautiful color, favorite pen, but you don't, any notebook, literally. One
mhm.
habit today is in the morning or the evening, whatever feels good to you, or maybe lunchtime. Always food helps for me. Um,
Right.
write down a few things like, here's things that I really want out of my life.
Mhm.
And then you can go back, and maybe once a week kind of look at that and be like, oh, I have that. Ooh,
Mhm.
gratitude time. Or, ooh, I don't have that. And you let your mind start working on it. Like, how can I make that shift? When you start opening to the possibility, the solutions will come.
I agree with you. Tahari, I can't say her name, but she's the actress. She said, and one thing, and then we can shift it a little bit more. But the one
Yeah.
thing she did talk about today is I always used to say, when I first started out on this journey, I'm always like, "Oh, everybody can come sit at my table. Everyone." Okay, that's a lie. That don't that was a lie. I don't know where I thought that was from. And then the other shift then I started shifting was actually Eric Thomas had talked about you make the table and allow only the four people to come to the table. However, today she said it so eloquently, you build your table and you are your table. And that right there, when she said that, I was like, I have now come to terms with I am the table, and
Mhm.
now I get to choose how the table's going to look. And so, and I say that because I want people to understand it's all about the journey and all about embracing the journey, and it does not matter where you are in age, and understand you don't have to rush, but start noticing, start looking around, start paying attention, and not allow so much productivity, which again, I'm with you, Lisa. I think that productivity has just, I think it really has hurt us more than it has helped us in so many ways. I say it at my job, and I'll say it if they were to listen to it, I would still tell them to this day that we have lost the humanistic side of the productivity world. And there's a balance. There's an easy balance, but you have to be willing to do the balance. So I like this conversation. I love that. You're right. This is the perfect place. We got to talk about it. Sitting, and especially when we're sitting in our desk at our office in a cubicle, and you're doing and you're not talking about it, that makes it even worse. So
Yeah.
talking
And
about
then
it.
you feel alone, and you're not alone. If you even have one inkling of I'm not sure that this is, or even maybe a big inkling like this is
Mhm.
not where I expected my life to be, then there
We're
are
here.
changes you can make that are tiny, and we're with you.
We're here, and you're not alone.
Mm.
Please do not think you're alone. I'm that's one thing that I keep telling everybody. Nope. I got tribes of women such as Lisa and everybody that we're here arm in arm. And
We are.
again, it's not me, it's a we. And we are here to help you move forward on that. So I love this.
Your
Lisa,
own pace, your own style. Yep.
I know that's right. Own
Yeah.
pace. I love that. So true. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Lisa, how can they?
Thank you so much for asking. You can find all the ways to connect with me at positivelyproductive.com. So that's like the main hub. If you would love to listen to another great podcast, then Positively Living is my podcast. And we talk about a lot of these topics. So I would be honored if you'd come join me there. And if you just want to have a little bit of fun and laugh because, oh my gosh, life is too short, and you like hanging out on Instagram, positively_Lisa is where I am over there. And I guarantee you ridiculous reels from time to time. I am not above looking wacky for your benefit. I call it stress management for
I
all
know
of us.
that's right. I know that's right. So you guys have a connection to get to. So Lisa, this part of the show, I'm always asking you amazing guests. You guys pour out to us. What do you do to pour into you, to
Oh my
yourself?
goodness. I walk my own talk in every regard, things that I do to pour into me. And I promise you, we talk about like, oh, how can we manage to do these things?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's literally setting a timer for 5 or 10 minutes and shutting out the world, lying prone, listening to music, blasting Boston in my car stereo on the way down to pick up the kids. Other things that I do that's very, holistic productivity coach related. I tell people to do this. I do it myself is I have a dedicated self-care day. It's a
Mm,
day that I have blocked off where I try very hard not to book other business related appointments if I can manage. And then it leaves it open for me to care for me. And sometimes it's things like doctor's appointments, and sometimes it's pedicures, or just basically, again, blocking out the world and being like, nope, my self care day. Yeah, it's taking every opportunity I can to pay attention to my needs and honor them as much. And from a mama standpoint, one of the best bits of advice I ever heard was to, when it comes to your children or anyone you're caring for, don't let their wants go above your
mm.
needs.
That's beautiful. That's so
Thank
true. So, Lisa, at this point of the show, I'm always doing the book on the shelf. Book on the shelf. It's all about. I believe in ways we can get to our wants and our desires is to read.
you. Mhm.
Everybody's like, Pam, you don't read. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna fess up again. I don't read, but I listen to books. Okay.
That counts.
Some say they do and some say they don't. But anyway, I do listen to books. I have over 90 of them. But
Mhm.
what book do you like or would you like to suggest to everybody?
Oh my goodness, it's really difficult. Like, I have so many recommendations. I have an entire Amazon list for people relating to this, but I guess I'm going to go with I want to do two because I'm always like, don't make me choose. I always adore Essentialism by Greg McKeown, but my official answer, final answer, will actually be the book that started it all. And I think for this conversation where we're like baby steps and like understanding that small steps can make a big difference, it's
Mhm.
actually The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Oh,
And I
okay.
recommend it because it's one of the first books I ever read that helped that mindset shift to
Mhm,
say, ooh, I want to make changes. How can I possibly? I'm way too overwhelmed. And
mhm.
this really encouraged me to understand the concept of the compound effect, which, by the way, is another corresponding book by Darren
Yes,
Hardy.
I have
Same
that one.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff Olson's The Slight Edge is kind of like a precursor to Darren Hardy's, not that
Okay.
they were connected, but
Right.
conceptually they are. So
Mm.
that's my recommendation.
I love that. I love that. I'd have to say the one that really that helped me as I was going through the aha moment
Yeah.
was the book written by Kiki Palmer, which is Mastering Me.
Oh,
What I
nice.
loved about hers was she too peeled back the onion, but then she also gave us exercise that we had to do inside the book, which helped me. That I think that's where it really connected with me. I'm like, okay, these make sense. And she talked about how she didn't do it, and it was just so relatable. But
Mm.
that's one of the books that I'm reading. Look, and then the other one is, oh, wait a minute. Look, my library's so big. Here we go. Is Who Better Than You? Better Than You.
Mm.
That was good too. That's by Will Packer. That was good too. And he talks about who better than you, and talked about who doesn't deserve the life that you want, but than you. And I really
Love
started.
that.
I read those two hand in hand together, and I really love that. So those are some good books. I will definitely be putting those into, if not this issue of Vision Made magazine, it will be definitely be put in to the next one, because I love everybody to build.
Since we're breaking all the rules, can I add one more?
Sure.
The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Good. I know. I've read that twice.
Right? I am rereading it right now for the umpteenth time, lost count.
Oh,
And that kind of fits right in just really embracing
mm,
our zone of genius and living in it, and maybe just exploring what even is our zone of genius would be
right.
a great step after this conversation to kind of say, where do I want to go with my life?
I so agree. Yeah, I forgot about. Oh, I love that book.
Yeah,
I love that. So many other books, The Alchemist. There's so many other books
there
that
are.
there's just so many. So, Lisa, before we go, what is your win for this week?
Oh, goodness. I would love to say something business related, but we're going to keep it realistic. And
Okay.
I have so much going on with two teens and everything that they've scheduled with, finals, regencies, things for the summer. And my win is that I have taken care of all of the administrative and calendar events and everything that we need in terms of medical and all of the events that are happening for the summer, and just even like social events. Like, I'm on it, and that's a win, man, because it feels like the never ending story, and I'm celebrating that.
I'm with you. I'm so with you. Yeah, my win. I am too. I'm on top of things. I've been writing my things down diligently, crossing them off my list. I even
Nice.
started using I'm color. I'm so color challenged that I'm not challenged that I love color. So every time I do something that it comes with a color, I put that in my journal, in my to-do book, like you have. And that was just so exciting to know that, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm loving this. Let's keep this moving, this momentum going. So that's my win for this week, is recognizing that I did follow my schedule, recognize that I took time away just for me, and whatever happened on this phone, it'll be here tomorrow morning. I don't even look at it after a certain time. So
Love
that's
that.
my win for this week. And then lastly, Lisa, what is your what's next?
Ooh, what's next is, and we talked about like what do we do, and we can always grow and we can always change. And something that I wasn't able to do for a long time, I am working my way back into voice work.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that after. I'm gonna talk to you after the line, because I've been looking into that, and I'm like, okay, let me. I would love to do something like that. I think that would be so cool. But I'll talk to
Yeah.
you about that. I love that. I
Yeah.
love
So
that.
that's going to be next for me, and a little different than before. I used to do commercials and narration, and I would love to do that again.
Mhm.
And I've done the podcasting now for a while, but I'm ready to get into narration and really challenge myself. And I think it would be perfect for my life, my current life stage. So yeah, that's the
Yeah,
plan.
oh, I'll stick with you and see where you're going with that. I'd love
Thanks.
to do that. And I have to say, my what's next is actually me growing into to doing some consulting work. I used to not. I shut it all down in my mind, but now I'm ready. I now feel that I'm ready to take on a few people, and let's go out here and help them get to their what's next, especially those of them that are ready to build a business.
Mhm.
I love that's my jam. Women be like, "Well, I'm here." I'm like, "Okay, we can do this," and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, let me pull back a little bit." But that is my what's next, is start doing a little consulting work.
That's exciting.
I know it is. It is. We'll think about. I love the voice thing, so we'll talk about that a little bit in the
Okay.
background. So, Lisa, I appreciate you so much, and thank you for joining us as we get ready to shut down today's show. What would you like to leave everybody with?
I think Sophia Bush, I'm going to try to quote her. It might be a paraphrase, but it's this reminder that you are allowed to be a work in progress and a masterpiece simultaneously. So appreciate who you are in this moment. You are a masterpiece as you are, and you are also allowed to grow and change and reach for new things and be a work in progress. Appreciate all the moments and appreciate who you are.
I love it, Lisa. Well, Lisa, one more time, how can everybody, where can they find you and connect to you at?
Thank you for asking. Positivelyproductive.com is the hub, so you can find all the places to get to me from there. And Positively Living Shame-Free Productivity Conversations is my podcast. I'd love it if you come there. And positively_Lisa on Instagram if you want to play and laugh and have a good time and feel inspired to take these little steps we talked about.
I love it, Lisa. I appreciate you joining us. This was so much fun. I had a blast. Our time
Same.
went by so fast. I can't believe that. But I'm going to put you in the green room and I'll be back. Then don't hang up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. Did you get your nuggets? I have pages of nuggets. I told you Lisa would drop you some. I told you about the productivity and how it plays a part in our lives, how to even declutter, right? I'm always talking about how to doing some decluttering within ourselves, decluttering our mindset and to get moving and to create the life that we want to live. But if you're needing that help or you're looking for that help and you're like, okay, this was awesome, but how do I get to there? Just go ahead and you can text me at 614-674-0074. And then in the text, if you would just put help, I will definitely text you back and we can talk real quick. If it's I can't help you, as you heard, Lisa was amazing. Lisa can help you. But I want you to know we only have one life to live, you guys, and we need to live it to our fullest and stop letting the what ifs and the I can't hold you back, or better yet, the buts. But this, but that, and but everything. I understand life and I get it. But let's clear the clutter and let's clear all that and let's go after your what's next. And knowing your what's next is literally right around the corner. Until next week, but I bring on another amazing guest, and note that you are amazing. Go out here and go after your what's next. Go after your what's next, and it's all possible with you. Take care of yourself and see you later, everybody. Oh, yeah, don't forget to drop in the feed. Let me know your win for this week and your favorite snack. Until then, everyone, take care of yourself. Bye.